Yeah, seriously. Next time, I'm going to press more than 230. Like, just put something more than 230. I'm not trying 230 anymore.
One of the toughest strongmen in history, right here. It's not a beauty contest. It's a strongman. I'm to be alive. If you can't do that thing, on the way we go.
Now, in most podcasts, you'd give an introduction as to the person who is your special guest. We have a very special guest. But before we do that, we've got to let you know what happened just as this man sat in this chair. You can see there's a fair bit of room I've got inside this chair. Sitting down in it is no problem. Not if you're a 200 kilo brute who's a world record holder in the log press and the axle press. The chair might break even more. We don't know, but let's give it up for I am Biby. Biby, we love you.
Yeah. I'm still on my legs. I'm not sitting down.
So you can't
Yeah, I can't. Ooh.
Oh.
All right.
We're worried.
I think we'll be fine.
No, anyone who's watching this is going to be thinking, you're a very large man, even larger than me. How much do you weigh?
Around 200 kilogram.
For 40 pounds.
Yes, for 40 pounds.
Tall? How tall are you?
Probably like 190 centimeters.
6'2.5".
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
And the arms?
I don't know. Last time we measured it, how much was it?
27 inch, I think.
So it was 28 and a
But
quarter.
do you think they are bigger now than before?
Yes.
Yeah, well, here's the hilarious thing. So my waist is 28, which means your arms are as big as my waist.
But I think it's close to 29 now.
I think, oh yeah, easy, man, unbelievable.
Yeah. What do we think legs?
I don't know. Probably way bigger. For sure.
You can squat the earth for these things, unbelievable.
Yeah, I never felt squat, 400 kilogram squat, no problem.
880.
Yeah. I think I'm actually more a squatter than deadlifter.
Really?
But, yeah, I have to stop
Can
doing
I just say, Darren told us a story earlier on in the previous podcast about watching you warm up, and while he'd only got to 180, you were already up just having to play with 360.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember, 2018.
In like 5 reps.
Kilos we're talking about here.
Yes, easy.
Yeah, it was something like 180, 260, 340, 380.
Exactly.
And that was it. That was single reps on each of them.
And done.
And walking in, and then moved on,
Yes.
So,
Have you always felt stronger than everyone else around you?
Yeah, I'm not really like a big guy. So even as a kid, I was bigger than all my friends, younger and the biggest. So usually strength is never been big issue for me.
Because it's easy. Actually, your brothers, they look small next to you, but they're muscular
Big
guys
guys,
themselves.
Yeah.
Especially your younger brother Atim.
Yeah, Atim is very strong. I even watch him. When I watch him lift, I'm like, wow, this.
for his size, he's amazingly strong.
Before he went to Canada this time, he did a 220 kilogram for 20 reps squat.
Wow.
And he only weighs 95 kilogram.
His bench press is very impressive.
200 kilogram bench press too.
I remember years ago when he came in my gym,
He did.
he did 180, and he was a lot smaller than he is now.
Yes.
He weighed I don't know, like 80 kilos.
I know,
think.
yeah.
He did 180, about 80 some kilos.
yes,
Everyone's
yes.
like, what?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's probably something about the genetic, Yeah.
I think so.
What age did you first go in a gym then? When did you first start training?
My first bench press was 100 kilogram. My first bench press.
Your first ever
My first ever bench
so
press
depressing.
was 100 kilogram, and I could curl 80 kilogram.
And how old were you when you went in the gym?
I was, let's say around 18 years old.
Yeah.
18 years old. So I will be 30 soon. So I can say I'm training for about almost 12 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't serious training until 2014, something like that.
Still quite
so
new
I used to just do biceps,
Yeah.
curl and bench press, even skip leg day, just playing basketball and do other sports. But now I feel like, you need to do everything to be strong. Yeah.
What I think is crazy about you, though, is you mentioned basketball.
Yeah.
I think you could still play basketball. Most men who are, say, 170, they are immobile. But you can do cartwheels. You can
Yes,
have a good time. No problem
Yes.
sleeping.
Yeah, it's I find flexibility is not just the body, it's the mind too. So you have to let your mind accept that you're flexible, and then you become flexible. And in my, I train outdoor, and I train at my father's house. It's a really big house, and my training spot used to be a like basketball place, and now that I start lifting, I change it to like a lifting place. So I still do some basketball sometimes. Yeah, we still have the ring there.
Biby, obviously this trophy is here because
Yes.
you are now 4 times
Yes,
world champion in the log
Yes.
press. And log press, for many, is the 100 meters of our
Exactly.
sport. So congratulations
thank you very
on
much.
taking this
Thank you, thank
way.
you. It's for all of us. Yeah. Darren helped me. You helped me. Radzi. Like I said, you can be strong, but when you're not surrounded by good people, you cannot deliver it.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's all the positive energy that gives the strength. So let's take it like since 2018, I show up at the World Log Lift Championship, and 2019 too, I won. 2020, Corona won the championship. Because Corona, it's sorry to say that, but it affects a lot of people, this disease. But thanks God, we are getting over it. And then I was here again 2021. Especially was very emotional because I miss I lost my dad. And this year, now I will tell you, I was more emotional than last year. Before I came to the competition, like I was crying because the last person I used to call before to come to compete was my father. And my brothers, like they all, I called them, but I couldn't keep the call because I was like crying. So it was very emotional, and I couldn't even like know how I will like perform yesterday. So that's little secret I just said now. Yeah.
I mean, last year let's be honest, the odds were stacked against you last year because you had COVID, you missed 3 or 4
Exactly.
flights.
Yes.
Obviously, what happened with your father,
Yes.
and all that was against you, and you did it.
Yes.
Did you do it because it was such a long journey for you to get there, literally
Exactly.
in time and emotion
Yes.
and in flights?
Yes, yes.
Were you like, right, I need to do this now? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it was like a promise
Yeah.
to my dad too.
Yeah.
So, it comes to the same thing. I say strength is not the size, it's not about how many muscle you have, it's a mind thing. So I promised him. So like I had to do it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have
I think
any
everyone could
reason-
see that.
Yes.
But
So
my father passed away in 2017, and I'm gutted that you started in 2018 because he would have loved to get behind you.
Wow.
And anyone, especially from the African continent, in strength, it's pretty much unheard of to do what you're doing. You had Johan Els, you had Badenhorst, a few guys historically.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
present day, current, it's amazing. And to see yesterday, you had guys from Burkina Faso who were stood next to you waving the flag. They loved it.
Thank you. It's part of the sport. The more athletes compete in Africa, it's good. And let's say the country I live in, there is poverty, and there are many like terrorism too. So people are not happy, like they are not stable mentally. So with performance like this, they get happiness in their heart. So it's one of the motivation. It motivates me to compete and to bring happiness in people's life.
Is that pressure at the same time?
Yes, it's pressure because now I'm the one that brought the strength sport in my country. So, and it was difficult because they didn't really understand it. But now they know log lift, and every time I compete, it's like a national thing now.
There must be an expectation to win then.
Oh yeah,
right?
I had no choice. I had to win. Yes.
That's good. That's good. That's good pressure.
Good pressure, yeah. And the pressure is good when you know how to transform it.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're not good at transforming like pressure to like positive energy, you will not perform.
Over the years, we've seen a lot of guys that can do so well in the gym, and then you put them on the big stage at World's Strongest Man or at Giants Live or any of the bigger shows,
Exactly.
and they just can't do anything.
Pressure.
They do it all in the gym, but then there's a polar opposite guys
Exactly.
that actually can do 10, 20% more in front of a crowd.
Yes,
and they're the
yes.
guys that will be remembered really to actually.
But both guys, but it was you're part of Europe's Strongest Man. Novikov is a fighter as well.
Yeah.
Right? Give him cometh the stage, cometh the man. You know. And,
He's ready anytime.
he does.
Even now, if he has to compete, he will. It's his mind is strong.
So tell me, you were trying to be the first man ever to do. You got the world record, of course,
Yes.
229 kilos.
Yes.
But you wanted to be the first man ever to do 230 kilos.
You know what?
Which is that's a really good deadlift.
I will tell you today. Yesterday, it was the last time I did try 230. I'm not trying this anymore.
No?
Let's go more. Yeah, seriously. Next time I'm gonna press more than 230. Just put something more than 230. I'm not trying 230 anymore. Yes, or you put 235 or 240. I'm done with 230.
Is it true you have actually done in training more?
And you can see I just pressed with one arm yesterday, no sleeve. It was just to prove to people that the strength is there.
Just to explain to people watching, obviously Biby came in with an injury and obviously
Exactly.
tore a little bit more as you pressed. But actually, even though you hurt yourself doing it, what you actually did look pretty easy.
Unbelievable.
It went up very quick, one arm locked out, and then you said, no, something's torn. So I could see how easy it would have been without the tear, because you actually got it up there very quick.
Yes.
Can I just say the most insane thing I've ever heard? Is it true you were doing from a bar standing presses before you got injured on the inside?
Yes.
What's a decent military? Just a little push press like that.
Well, a really good one is like 160.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It may well be an event at World's Strongest Man this year. Well, what's Gary Taylor's record at World's Strongest Man? He did 210 or 220.
Yeah.
What did you do in training? You told me this, and I'm not sure you
I
ever said
did,
this with anyone. What have you done in training?
260 kilogram.
260.
Yeah, standing military press.
Basically, it's basically a military press, but it's just
Yes.
do your legs bend at all?
Just a tiny
Little
bit,
bit.
like my calf, and I think I was just getting too crazy because I wanted to do 300. And then I had an injury. I'm like, okay, that's not a great idea.
I saw a little video. And the only flex in his legs is really when he leans backwards, like a bench, a little bit of benching it up.
Yes.
So it's no different than what Vasily Alexiev, when he did the world record back in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's exactly how he did it. He did 229 kilos.
Yes.
And it was like out of sight.
Yes.
And that still is the record.
Biby lifts a bit like how Biggsy used to lift, where it's just shoulders. And we were doing some dumbbell last year, the year before,
Exactly.
remember? And I just said, Biby, have you ever tried just using your legs a little bit? And it was like a 105 kilo dumbbell.
Exactly, yeah.
And it was easy anyway. You could just go like this, and then you tried your legs, you were like, wow. When
Yeah, I was
shocked,
surprised. I'm like-
everyone else is using all the body to get it up, and Biby's just pressing it. It was like, wow, I didn't realise that's fantastic,
Yeah. Dumbbell is something I'm really good at too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I never tried heavy dumbbell, but I'm sure I'm good at heavy dumbbell.
Yeah.
I will definitely love to see how, my power I can, because this rack, I'm really confident can press a very, very big number.
How does your body feel when you're right at the limit? Have you ever felt that? Because even say we mentioned Novikov,
Yes.
you see him at the end of a log, he will shudder, he will shake.
Yeah.
I've never seen you like that.
Yes, I'm lucky that I have a baby's body, I'm like a big baby. Yes, so I'm still, honestly, I'm not feeling that I'm at my peak or anything. Yeah, you can see every year I keep getting better and better. And, it takes time. If you take someone like Mark Felix, he started strongman at 36 years old. Yes, so, I use him as a motivation. So it shows that this is not like a sprint. It's about stamina.
And you also tried to steal his Hercules Hold record. It's
pretty close.
Pretty close. He was the second best in history, right?
Yes.
You got big hands like Felix,
Yes,
all right?
big hand too. Yeah, and
for comparison.
Yes.
But I wonder.
And they keep growing. Maybe when I get to 50 years old, they will be bigger. They keep growing. So yeah, I believe grip is something, you can have good grip naturally, but you have to train them. Yeah, I'm one of the guys that train a lot my grip. Yeah. Let's say even when I'm driving or I'm sitting at home, I have like the grip equipment. I train them, and it's fun. It's like when you eat, you use your forearm, right? So train them. Yeah.
We've got a couple of questions there from people off Instagram and Facebook.
No problem.
So the first question is, how often do you train your legs, and what do you do to train your legs? Everyone's on about how big your legs are. Everyone's always on about your shoulders, but the legs, you can't miss out on the legs.
Of course. I'm gifted with legs. So me personally, like I train my leg once a week.
Yeah.
And I usually do squat, and I also like leg press.
And is it a lot of volume? Because when I've trained with you, you're not known for your volume.
No, I don't do that.
What's he saying?
5 to 7 reps.
Yeah.
Yes, just to be stable,
Yeah.
5 to 7 reps. And I also like to walk a lot. I'm like 200 kilograms. If I walk, it's like I'm training legs. I like walking, and I also like
climbing steps,
leg press.
Yeah,
not very heavy because I don't want like knee pain or stuff like that. Yeah, I can put like let's say 300 kilograms, like 20 reps. Yeah,
that's light, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, baby weight.
How do you find getting down to a deadlift?
It's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing that I always thought watching you deadlift was one of your biggest problems is your legs are so big the bar stops on your legs.
Exactly.
That's
do you
a big
have any
problem.
advice for me to make my legs smaller?
Oil.
Baby oil.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But when you pull so fast from the bottom, it hits your quads, and then you've got to pull it around your quads. There's not a right that you can do to get over that.
I mean, that is a dilemma. To pull a bar around your quads.
Exactly.
That's unbelievable.
The first bit is so quick,
Exactly.
Yes. Hey, so I've got another really good question here, actually.
Okay.
And I want to know this as well. When are you going to do World's Strongest Man?
Okay, so
come on, baby.
All right, this question, people keep asking, and I think it's the right time to answer. So I had a chat with you last night, and if you're willing to help me prep, for 3 months next year, I will do it. Because usually I get qualified for World's Strongest Man. Yeah. But I will be honest, in my country we don't have strongman is something that I brought to my country. Our sports science is not developed. So let's say someone has an injury or muscle tear, you have to fly to 6 to 7 hours to another country to get fixed. So it's very risky.
Difficult, yeah.
Yes, so people have to really understand that it's, especially now that I decided to be close to my family, it's difficult. It's very difficult. And
people just assume when they live in
exactly,
UK or USA, everything's on your doorstep.
It's much better, but in my country, let's say, since September, I didn't get any treatment, but I still came and compete, and yesterday, the guy that did the massage there, and he said my back is so tight, and he asked me how I'm walking with a back tight like this, because I've been training no treatment, so it's dangerous.
Do you have any kind of hot and cold or any of that kind of stuff?
I use ice therapy, but it's not, and I even made it myself, but it's not just that. You need physio, you need massage.
See, there's been a few of our shows that you've done. Royal Albert Hall in one of them. I think Manchester a couple of years ago. You've actually podiumed and you were in the lead before the Stones.
Every time.
And then not done the Stones.
I think every show he's been in the lead.
So even
just about.
A mediocre Stone would have got. You got the one, but obviously you haven't done it for your own reasons. Because a lot of people think, I'm Biby, shoulder press, all this, which is true.
It's big mistakes.
But I remember not many moons ago, you beating Lawrence on the yoke and on the frame walk when Lawrence was unbelievable at it, and you beat him both times at that, and that's a real sort of benchmark. And people are like,
how's he doing it?
Biby can move fast. Nobody realised that.
Yes. It's I'm really quick for a big guy.
Yeah.
And if I can drop like 20 kilogram less and be more solid, I will definitely be a world's strongest man contender.
And I don't think that dropping 20 kilos is going to lose much off your log or your overhead press.
Yeah,
you know?
you remember in 2018, I cleaned the 230 log and I was 180. But now, like, my muscles are more mature and I'm older. So it will be like, I will be more explosive.
Yeah.
So hang on, will you be there at the Royal Albert Hall then this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's part of my plan, and I'll make sure to be at least a month of training with the man himself, and I'll try to listen.
Well, that's the problem.
That's the problem. But it's like you have a big baby, you know. You have to maybe you have to kick my ass, or you have to give me candy, or you give me candy. I listen.
Yeah. Well, you've been coaching yourself all your life,
yes,
right?
Yes.
It's hard to put your hands in someone else. It's,
but you know, I like to moon sometimes. You know, he just has to convince me, and
I honestly think that if Biby could win World's Strongest Man, he would be a global superstar. I think he could be bigger than anybody that's ever won it before, just because of his character, you know.
But also with yourself is if you take somebody, let's just take Alexei Novikov.
Okay.
Relatively small man for strongman.
Yes.
He needs to be technically good in
fast.
order to perform.
Yes.
With yourself, because your natural strength is so far off the charts,
Yes.
if you just had one Atlas stone that you could practice with, and then you come to the UK and train with Daz, it's like you've got the fundamental there, you've got the strength there, it's now just putting it all
The
together.
guys in this country and also in America, and this is not nothing against them, but they take it for granted, they've all got the kit. They've all got everything. And even if we put an event in that they don't have the, like, right, we need that, and they get it. Whereas he has none of this.
But he's like what Magnus Fair and these guys were like. Basically, you're just doing some training in the gym with what you can, and then you adapt at the last second to what you
But it's a massive disadvantage. So to become good on the equipment.
Exactly.
Me at World's Strongest Man, I'll be honest, I was the opposite to Biby. I obviously was the lightest person there, so I had to have everything absolutely perfect,
Exactly.
and I had to have every trick and
But
everything.
we had a dumbbell, didn't we? At the last Manchester you were at.
Yes.
And I remember saying beforehand, have you done much dumbbell? You went, yeah, I'm quite good at pressing dumbbells. I said, no, mate, these are monster dumbbells. These are like one-handed jerks. No one just goes out there and presses them. But you managed to get a little technique in the 1 week you were here, right?
Yeah, we did
and what did you do?
7 reps.
So is it 7 reps?
Like 105 kilos.
105 kilo
Yes.
monster dumbbell. Which,
First time ever, yeah. But
That's
these no one's doing that. Do you know what I mean? No one's just the guys that are doing this are training 7 days a week on the equipment. No one's just jumping in and out.
Novikov's the best of that, right?
Yes.
How good was he the first session he ever did in dumbbell?
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
It really has good
He's probably done 500 sessions to get that good.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
But at the end of the day, the results, it doesn't matter. It's all to do with the training and preparation.
Exactly.
Yes.
But also, I get the impression with yourself that when you're competing, it's not just about I'm Biby, it's not just about Czech. It's about your country, it's about your family.
Exactly.
And so when you're a grandfather, I think you would love to speak to your grandchildren and say, I went to World's Strongest Man,
Yes.
and this is what happened. It wasn't the best preparation because of where our country is,
Exactly.
but I found out what happened. It'd be a shame for you to be 70 and say, I wonder what would have happened.
That's true. So that's why we talked about it last night, and and I believe if I have to do it, I need to get like at least a good preparation. Yes, you don't want to go there not ready.
Yeah.
And I know, like, if I go there, like, I will get to final. I'm sure. Because most of the guys that compete that, like, I faced them before. So it's not going to be something new.
Yeah.
So I know, like, if I train, I can beat them for sure. 100%.
And if it doesn't happen, we just blame Darren.
Yes, because we just talk about it now and it's on video.
My responsibility.
Yes.
And once you've done that, surely with this physique, you then have to try and take Julius Maddox on in a bench press competition. Because that would be... Have you met Julius? He's a great guy. He's like you, he's a great guy.
I used to do bench press, but you know the thing, like when you become a really good bench presser, you have to say goodbye to shoulder press because it's gonna affect your mobility a lot. Because I used to bench press, and the transition was difficult. Yeah, sometimes you have like lockout problem, like you feel stiff in the right position, so it's difficult.
Most of the top strongmen, they just don't bench press.
Exactly,
They
yeah.
don't, no.
Actually, a strongman told me to stop doing bench press and a lot of bicep curls.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not gonna help me so much.
No.
Yeah.
Dad, what were your approach for working with Biby? So what would you do? So if you're with him right now and would you break it down to a month? Would it be 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or?
Well, even when he came the first time, his log press was unbelievable, but his clean wasn't very good. He couldn't get the clean right,
Yeah, exactly.
and we got that right, and all of a sudden the press got better because if it's a hard clean, the press is awful. So we just did loads of log clean. But I think the main approach would be, like he says, he wants to come down in weight a little bit, but he can move. You know, it's not like we have to. And your overall fitness is better than it used to be.
Yes.
A lot better than it used to be.
Yes.
So you can move with it. I think it's the little things, little technical things that, because you learn on the job, don't you, as you're doing things, and you've got to get things wrong to be able to be good at it. But he's never had any of that, so I think he needs to actually just get hold of the equipment, where to position your hands on certain things.
And Biby, Biby has been the world's strongest man, but you had malaria, didn't you?
Yes.
He went out there, and do you remember that?
I can say I've been there.
So he has actually been there. It's not as if he's like scared to go there.
But
he got kicked out for the doctor said you had malaria, and he had to go home.
It was a
Philippines.
difficult experience, but it's life.
He's such a nice guy, Biby, right?
Yeah.
Even though he has malaria and he's just trying to tough it out, pretending he's okay. He gets off it's a long flight. We're in the Philippines.
Yes.
And I'm looking around thinking, what athletes are going to go? Remember the traffic there?
Yeah.
Like a 3-4 hour journey to some TV studio to go do this interview.
We did.
And I asked a few people, whatever. And people was like, no, man, no. And I saw Biby coming through. He's such a nice guy. And I went, Biby, would you come with me to the studio to do this interview? He went, okay, sure, no problem. You're such a nice guy. And then for 4 hours we sat in traffic.
It was so hot out.
It was awful, man. It was awful. And afterwards we found out you had, malaria.
To live, yeah.
That was such a stinky. You literally got there, and a day later you left.
Yes.
It was awful.
Yeah, I cried, but it's alright. I cry a lot.
Yeah,
I find it's normal, you have to
man.
let it go.
But you're brave. You wanted to be there, and you were hiding malaria. You didn't know you had it, but
Yes, so it's life. But like you said, we'll get ready for next year. And my goal this year, I want to lose some weight, go down to 180. Yes, and I know I will not lose strength. I will only be better for more shows.
So we heard it here first. This man will be going to the 2023 World's Strongest Man. Probably the most bit of exciting news we've had in Strongman in 2022.
Everyone is happy now.
Yes.
So it's part of my plan.
I wonder how many people actually, because everyone's obviously coming to these Giants live and trying to get top 3. How many people have actually turned invites down? Because Biby's turned quite a lot of invites down to Worlds. I don't know who else has done that.
Yeah.
Without injury.
Hicksy.
Yeah, possibly Graham.
Hicksy, yeah. He has actually.
But not many people do. You know what I mean?
This is rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what you can do there.
Yeah, I'll be there. 2023.
And also, I'll just chuck this out before we finish. I remember you saying that you had a diplomatic passport.
Yes.
And a diplomatic passport in this country means you basically are an MP. So Darren said, no, this can't be the case. Out it comes. The man could basically, during COVID, go wherever he wanted on planet Earth because you're a member of diplomats
Of course, yeah.
of your country.
Yes. So it's usually, let's say, when I'm coming here, I use a normal passport. But when I travel for business, I use the diplomatic one.
Big time, Biby. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're definitely
Thank
going to have
you.
you on here again.
Of
Because
course.
Can I just say,
Please.
the only thing I'm more excited about than seeing Biby at World's Strongest Man 2023 is Biby getting out of that chair. If you heard, if you saw him getting into it,
I didn't move a lot. Just my head moving.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't move.
I think he's going with him. He's going to take it with him.
please you keep rolling just in
Right.
case.
we're gonna end it on me taking the coffee off Biby. It's going to be a hard one.
Spotters.
I have an idea.
Here we go.
Maybe Darren will help me.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
There he goes.
Can't believe I'm the only one who's broken it.
That was good.